Hey YouTube, what's going on? I'm Rocket, and this is part 5 of my Nest HackTheBox walkthrough. So, in this video, we're going to be reverse engineering the hqk-ldap.exe executable that we ended up getting earlier. And the reason why we need to go reverse engineer this is because it might have the capability to decrypt the encrypted admin password that we found in the previous episode, which happens to be this right here. And I should have taken note and just take a note of this encrypted password to say administrator, and here's your password. And we gotta say to do, because that's what we're doing right now. Alright, perfect. So without further ado, let's go to this directory right here. Make sure to quote it and spin up an HTTP server. So we can do that with Python 3-m http.server, and then we're going to bind to our VMware workstation IP interface. So we'll do that. And this time I'm going to use a different Windows VM to reverse engineer its binary. And I'm using this virtual machine called FlareVM, which is by FireEye. FlareVM, you can think of it as kind of like a Kali Linux, basically a toolbox, but it's focused purely for reverse engineering. If you want to get this virtual machine, what you need is a installation of Windows 10, and you're going to need to download this FlareVM repo by FireEye. Cool. Just know that when you do install FlareVM, the system will end up rebooting multiple times, so it can still take a while. So keep that in mind. Alright, let's go back to our FlareVM. And let's spin up a PowerShell prompt. So I'm going to download the file with PowerShell. So just like before, we'll go new object. I'm going to say system.net.webclient. And we'll say download file. So HTTP, I think this was where we want to download it from. Copy that. And I think it was called, make sure we copy the file name correctly, because Linux is case sensitive when it comes to downloading files over HTTP. And we want to download it here. And we'll just call it hqk-ldap.exe. That downloaded very quickly. Amazing. It does have a length, so should be valid. At this point, we did figure out that it is a .NET assembly. So when reverse engineering .NET assemblies, I always like to load them up in a tool called Dnspy. So let's fire that up. And Dnspy comes installed by default on FlareVM, which is another reason why I like FlareVM so much. Perfect. So from here, I need to drag this file into this decompiler. Explorer here. Cool. So let's drop this in. Excellent. So for those of you who don't know, Dnspy is a .NET decompiler and debugger. So if you have just .NET assemblies or executables, you can just load them up in here and figure out how they work. Alright, so again, just kind of like just like we searched the previous Visual Basic project, I think that was in part 3, I looked for the main function immediately. So I'm going to use that same approach right here. So let's look for main. I do want to look for files in the same folder. And we do see a main function right here in the hqk-ldap. Oh wait, sorry. Let me move this up here. Yeah. So we can see main is in hqk-ldap main module. So let's click on that. Decompiling. Amazing. So it looks like this .NET assembly wasn't obfuscated. So all the symbols are still look like a human wrote them. So for example, we have main, console.writeLine. We don't have something weird like a.b.c.a1 where we have to where we'd have to use like a more dynamic approach to figure out what's going on. So yeah, let's trace this. So first off, the program takes one command line argument, and it also looks for the hqkdb import.exe file. So this file needs to also exist in the directory where this executable is running. So we should take note of that. And actually, as we take notes like this, it helps to just go and start that up. So because we're in this directory here, I'm just going to run touch. I'm going to touch the hqkdb import.exe file. We'll copy that, and we'll just go and paste that here. Amazing. So we go ls. Our file is now there. All right. The next thing is it accepts a file where the file is the first command line argument, and it looks for a domain equals, followed by a user equals, and followed by a password equals. So we care about the password because the whole reason why we're trying to reverse engineer this program is to decrypt the admin's password. So it looks like it's calling this cr.ds, which probably stands for decrypt string on the password. So let's see what this does. So ds, it looks like it's doing some sort of encryption operation. So ES probably stands for encrypt string and DS probably for decrypt string. Excellent. So this is probably good enough. I'm going to hit Alt left to just go backwards. In Dnspy, you can hit Alt right to go ahead, Alt left to go back. Cool. And then it uses that password to perform an LDAP query. And then it compiles a list of LDAP users. And then it says, and then it tries to execute the hqkdb import.exe file for every account found. Okay, well, we know for a fact that we don't have this file right here. So that's kind of moot. What it does do though, is it decrypts the password for us, but it decrypts that in memory and stores it into a data structure, kind of like in the previous Visual Basic project that we were looking at. So at this point, I am going to set a breakpoint and put it right here. And yeah, before we run this, we do need to pass the config file that's going to parse because that's where it's getting the LDAP users from. And which also has to be the first command line argument, because if not, it's going to exit with the specified config file doesn't exist. So let's go get that quickly, which should be in our loot directory here if I recall correctly. So let's go back. Let's go up a few directories. Let's go to loot. And there's our ldap.conf file. So I'm going to spin up another Python 3 server there. And we're going to go back to our PowerShell session and download that. So it is called ldap.conf. We'll just call it ldap.conf. Excellent. We have our ldap.conf file with the admin user's LDAP credentials. All right, cool. So we set our breakpoint, so let's hit start. We do want to pass an argument, so we do want to read ldap.conf. Actually, before I run this, I think it'd make more sense to kind of just like walk through this step by step, just so you can get an idea for like what's really going on. Let's set a breakpoint here. We'll start. We'll pass the argument ldap.conf, and we'll run it. Cool. So our program is running, and I believe you can hit F10 to step over. So our argument count is definitely greater than 1. So we're gonna hit F10. Oh, sorry, I skipped twice, but yeah, we definitely skipped over this, which is good. And we also skipped over this condition right here. Specify config file does not exist, which means that, hey, because we skipped over this statement, we do have a config file. And now we're checking to see if the hqqdb import.exe file exists, which it does because we touched it previously. It is right here. So let's step over that. Let's create a LDAP search setting structure. Read all the lines from our first command line argument. So we have a domain equals because when we dumped it, it does say our LDAP.conf does say domain equals. Let's see the next line. User equals, that works too, and then password equals. Perfect. So now it's going to do the decrypt operation. It's done decrypting. And it's going to set the LDAP.password to the LDAP search settings.password. So LDAP search settings.password should have the decrypted password. So let's check here. So LDAP search settings, the password. Okay, this actually looks like a valid password to me. We might just have it. So let's copy this. Go back to our Kali machine. Let me close this. Update our creds. Oh, I have a tab for notes already. So we'll use that. And at this point we can try becoming the administrator. So let's do that right now. Let's try ps_exec.py and we'll say administrator at nest.htb, and let's try spinning up a command prompt. Let's use the password. And it looks like we're in. Excellent. So at this point, we should be able to navigate to the administrator's directory. So let's go to the C users. Let's go dir. Let's go to administrator. Go dir. Let's go to the desktop. And it looks like we have the flag. So that is the box. I hope you enjoyed this series, and I'll see you in the next video.